Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday service. In her name, under her protection. Welcome, Juliet, Morgan, Sandra, Sarah, Jocelyn. So there's a lot of you, and I would love for you to say hi in the chat room and just connect with each other and presence yourself here in our time together. I won't be able to, I definitely won't be able to say everyone's name. I see Taylor, Cynthia, Sarai, Roswitha, Brooke, Grayson, hello. Thank you all. I'm so glad that we are taking the time, that we are pausing together and coming close to drink from the deeper well together. Jan's in the UK, Maria, Kimberly, welcome everyone. So we'll just gather for a couple of moments. And you know, part of how we gather and how we come to service together in a way that allows for there to be the most depth and the most nourishment from our time is to come into a receptive state. So that's what, hi Xiaojie, Samar. What that has a lot to do with is just taking a moment to, I'm going to invite you to notice just your state. Especially if you're feeling a little agitated or if things have been moving fast or overwhelming, I'm going to welcome you to come into this hold that I've been loving and teaching, which is to bring your right hand here under your, kind of under your left armpit, and your right hand over your left hand over your right shoulder, and just hold there for a moment. This is a hold that is specific to regulating the nervous system. And I'm gonna guess that for all of us, it would be a worthwhile moment to take. So as we're gathering over this next couple of moments, welcoming you to just bring yourself present, to come into this holding that will kind of help to settle your nervous system, help to regulate your state, and help to contain, help to gather yourself to yourself. Right? Hi, Sarah, Kara, Ava. Is it Ava or Era? Yuvia, Audrey. Okay. So becoming more receptive as we enter service together is softening. It's not wrestling with anything, not trying to change anything, including yourself, but just meeting whatever you are and just softening around the edges, even just the tiniest bit. Right? Becoming available to nourishment, becoming available to support. Especially when we're in such depths of transformation and so much is moving, it's very common and understandable to contract, to tense up, and to rigidify. And what we want to remember together in this moment is that strength is actually found in supple presence, right? Not in rigidity. So just noticing that. You don't need to change anything and you don't need to fix anything in order to just soften inside of what you are right now. Also, becoming receptive means to presence yourself deeply. So to be here. And part of that comes from just softening back down in, right? We want to actually locate ourselves here together. We want to become a location for destiny, for grace, for wisdom to find us. So we need to slow down for a moment and become available to those things. We need to relax and soften back from all the forward moving, strategizing, leaning out, and really soften back in to resource ourselves. Hi, Molly and Holly and Christine and Marion and Josephine. Welcome, everyone. So thank you for taking a moment with me just to arrive. I know that our time together is far more nourishing and substantial when we do that, when we pause for a moment. So this hold again is just your right hand under your left armpit, your right hand over your left arm, your left hand over your right arm, and just holding and just letting your being settle and soften into your own holding. If you want to return to stay there or return to it throughout the service, I recommend it. It's a wonderful, simple way to settle when you notice that you're starting to ramp up or to feel really dispersed in far too many directions, right? When you need to come back home. So let's officially begin in Sunday service. Welcome. As you probably know, I'm Jumana Sophia, and I'm holding this service in the deep feminine tradition. So it's open to everyone. It's not specifically for women at all, but it is moving from my tradition, the tradition in which I am priestess, the tradition that I serve, which is the deep feminine embodied tradition of holy wisdom, right? So that's what we are taking refuge in today and what we are turning toward for nourishment and support. Hi, Jamie, welcome. So let's begin together with prayer. Let's just drop in and turn to that one who is always with us through all things. So if you can, close your eyes if it's safe to do so. If not, you just soften your eyes and let your awareness settle more into your heart. Just come in. Blessed Holy One, you who can always be felt, but never captured in name, we turn to you. We need you. Beloved Shepherdess, we are asking to be shown the way. We are acknowledging what we don't know and we cannot see. And we are turning to your promise that you will show us. You will hold us, that you will fortify us no matter what we face. We remember that you are never far, even if we've forgotten for a moment or far too many long moments. I give thanks to you for bringing us together, for calling us together in your name, which is love, which is always and only love, which moves as wisdom, which speaks as deeper truth. Which we can always find just by listening deeply. Cover us with the mantle of your protection. Bless us with your grace, with your mercy. Fill us with your generosity. Bring us home. Blessed be. So, welcome to Sunday service. And if you are just joining for the first time, just so that you know how it works, it's not so available for discussion because there are so many of you, but we are together, and there will be some times to kind of contribute in the chat, and you can always just make yourself known in the chat to each other if something arises. Whatever you want to share, this is a place to connect with the whole family of us. But we're going to start service just with a teaching from her mystery school. And then we're going to move, actually, this time we're going to move into a practice together, soul tonic practice. We're going to work it. We want to actually make some medicine together. And then we'll move into some sharing together before we close with prayer again. So, the deep feminine tradition, what is that? That is, it's many things. But I think what's most relevant to what we are walking through as a humanity right now and individually right now is that the deep feminine tradition offers sacred context for these kinds of initiations, right? For initiations, for times of life that are essentially descent journeys that strip things away, that are not tidy, that kind of partake of the intensity and the fire of transformation and all that that means, right? So in the deep feminine tradition, there is sacred place and sacred context given to everything that you are, everything that presents itself, and all that life will be. So when we come to her in this way, we are coming to that presence that you know, and you have your way of naming that, of moving towards that, of praying, whatever your way is and your words are. What I know is that you know when you touch something real. You know when your prayer, when you're feeling, when you open your heart, when you rest into a presence that is bigger than you and knows you, is intimate with you. The deep feminine tradition is one of nearness, right? It's one of knowing that divinity, knowing that what is holy is what is right here, what is happening right now. That there is a way that we can sanctify that, and that we can come to really understand and actually be fortified by the reality that we are not alone. And that is not a concept. There is presence with us always. So deep feminine tradition is about feeling held, about it making it real inside of you, letting this be, letting your experience of God, goddess, letting your experience of spirit be real, and just choosing the one thing you have to choose in the face of that, which is that you'll turn towards her. You will turn towards that source of that resource of love and of wisdom and of beauty. That in the face of all else that you cannot control, which is clearly a lot, we're being initiated very much into our smallness, our holy smallness, and our deeply holy enoughness. all at the same time. And what that is asking all of us to do is to turn toward that presence that we know. That may or may not be true for you through religion, through practice, through whatever, but I know, and this is part of what we bear witness to together today, is that you know that presence, and you know your way of touching into her, taking refuge in her, him, whatever, and finding the wisdom and the strength that you need, even when you are at your own capacity, right? So a lot of what we are moving through right now has a lot of us at capacity. And I know that's not entirely true, that there's a way. I've talked to hundreds, well, I'm in touch with hundreds of women, and they're all over the place. Some are doing great. Some are just overwhelmed. Some are feeling annihilated, right? We are all in different places in this life, death, life cycle, right? In that, in the face of all these things that we still cannot control, and when we are hitting capacity, even the ones I know that are doing well, there's a hitting of capacity because there is so much happening, right? We are feeling so much. Even if we're feeling like I am, there's this pull forward. There's a lot of energy, but it's still pushing me to capacity, even though it's not suffering, it's generosity, right? So when we hit capacity, we, especially, I know most of you are women, men are obviously welcome to this service. From a deep feminine tradition, we source from the wisdom of a female body, and she knows how to dilate, how to birth, right? How to become big enough to let something huge move, and how to resource and to draw on that which is beyond her in order to do what needs to be done, right? In order to let greater power, greater love, greater strength move because it's needed. This is a time of responsiveness when we are all responding, and we are gifted at it, responding to the call, the need that's in front of us, that's rising up inside of us. So deep feminine tradition is that, right? It is an alliance with her. It's an alliance with the force that is bigger than you are, the hands that are bigger than you are, the shepherdess. And in it, what we're all being pushed into by this initiation is the humility that we need in order to actually admit that we don't know, and that we are a little lost, and that we need guidance, and that it needs to come from a place wiser than ourselves. Right? To simultaneously admit that we need that, and that we are the embodiment of that we can be both. So that's the context of our service. And what I'm inviting you into, what I would guide you toward, is this opportunity that's always present, but that is far more amplified right now, which is to ask and be shown who is with you. How are you held? What do you really know? And then to see how much is really there. And each of us goes there on our own golden path, in our own world. We are each at the center of a world right now. Right? You are each at the center of a world. It's your family, your people, your home, your work, your world. The more you anchor yourself here at the center of your world as an anchor, as a presence and an influence to the entire web of your world, the greater you are able to be in service, in truth, and the more you're locating yourself in your own destiny. And destiny is definitely moving right now through all of this. So I did, in terms of the theme and the focus of the service today, what I wanted to really call us forward to is an acknowledgement and a rejoining of a joining with the life, death, life cycle. So in her mystery school, when we're working with the descent and we're working with Dark Mother, we're working with these initiations that we didn't want, we didn't choose, that are going to only accept surrender, right? And that are going to forge the soul inside of us. That's their point, to bring us to greater love and power, but usually through hardship, right? That's the descent journey. In the descent journey, what we have, even when everything's being stripped away, even when we're growing into something bigger and more than we ever knew we are, and it feels great, and we're having to let who we knew ourselves to be fall away, right? All of us are in a certain stripping away right now. There is an emergence happening. And as the emergence happens, the old has to give way, right? What is no longer living, what is no longer current, must give way and will. So, in that, there are multiple moments of extreme disorientation, or yeah, there can be extreme disorientation, right? Where you just don't know where you are. And I would say that as a whole, as a world, there's a lot of that. There is a disorientation because there is not knowing, right? And what we need, there is a sacred need in there, which is to orient to something. We need to find our place. Where a lot of us are kind of getting lost or dissipated is in hoping to find our place somehow by something from the outsides, the latest article, the latest writing, the latest strategy, the latest evidence, the whatever, right? The orientation has got to come from two places. One is from right here, your indwelling, trustworthy presence, and from the cycles, the laws, the divine and natural laws that are bigger than all of it, right? So that's what the service is about. It's calling today, we're going to be calling ourselves into alignment and orientation towards trustworthy sources of guidance, trustworthy anchors. So that whatever we're facing right now, and I know each of us is facing something different, we can orient and we can meet that sacred need to find place, to know what to orient to have some sense of belonging and right relationship to a trustworthy presence. So the bigger cycle that we are attuning to today is the life, death, life cycle, right? So we are inside of that right now with the pandemic, right? We're inside of that. We're inside of a cycle that has wholeness to it. We may feel, there may be a perception, and it may be the truth, that we're in the part of the cycle that looks like death. That is death. It began as life. It cycles through death. It comes into life again, right? And so when we are anywhere on that cycle, when you are anywhere on that cycle where peace can be found, where fortification can be found, is to join to the entirety of it. Honor where you are on it. Honor if death is what you're facing. Honor if your life is falling apart. Honor if you're scared and you don't know where you're going. Honor if this is actually calling you into greater purpose and a lot of vitality is moving and the response in you is burning and full and fruition. Honor that. But remember, we are all always on this cycle and it is trustworthy and it is not life, death, into more death and more chaos forever and ever. Amen. Right? That's not it. We're inside of a sealed cycle that regenerates and creates wholeness. Life, death, life. So, why this feels so strong to me is that if you align to that so much of the angst that is unnecessary in the face of whatever suffering you may encounter can go. It's not the way that it works. This is not the end of the world. It's just the transformation of it. Right? There is no end of the world. The apocalyptic thinking, all of that fucking needs to go, right? It has no place here. It's an illusion, just as much as many other things. What is true is the life, death, life. Look at your own life. How many times have you lived and died and lived again? I'm going to guess quite a few, right? And it's what nature exemplifies. This is what we're inside of, partly because I say, that's partly because I'm inviting you into faith in that. All right, there's a certain amount of faith there. I'm also giving you the invitation to choose that, to choose what cycle, what will you align with in these times? Are you going to align with the movement of life to death to chaos and to light to more death and more chaos and forever? Or are you going to align with life, death, life cycle? Right? Because what the life, death, what an initiation of this caliber and of this magnitude brings on a personal and a collective level is kind of this, it brings a calling of soul forward, meaning in the midst of all the things that, in the midst of all the things, the real question is, and your power lies in, who do you serve and who will you become? Right? There's so much that you cannot control, that I cannot control. Who and where our choice point is choosing who we will serve, what we will be an instrument of inside of these times. The presence of death, the reminder that the life, death, life cycle includes and must acknowledge death, is going to bring greater soul to all of us, because it has always been true. Death is always with us, right? When it comes close like this, in all the many ways of, of dying that are happening right now, when it comes close like this, life starts to shine really brightly and get really clear. And who you're serving inside of life, in the presence of death, becomes one of the most important questions for your peace, for your purpose, and for staying on your golden path, whatever circumstances are going to arise. So who do you serve? What are you willing to serve? Your choices and your actions, what you allow into your world, what you allow out of your mouth, out of your voice, what you lean your energy in behind, is defining who you serve. So it's a really powerful opportunity for all of us to get deeper in, take a moment, ask who we serve, and then how that service would be true. Right? So if we serve love, we serve peace. If we serve the God, goddess of our own understanding, right? If we serve the mystery that we have reverence and awe for, how does that then? How does that express itself right now in the face of all of what we're facing? So I think that is a question for you. That is a calling of all of us forward to the core here. Because especially those of us, all of us, who influence our realms, it really matters who we're serving. And we have this profound opportunity to serve love and wisdom and to learn what that means. This is mastery time. We're going to get really rapid feedback on whether or not we're serving love or we're serving excessive fear, on whether or not we're serving wisdom or we're just serving a bunch of empty knowledge and empty action, right? We're going to get really quick feedback because the intensity level is high. That sucks on one level. On another level, it's extremely powerful. We want this kind of fuel because we want to initiate. We do not want to be where we were before. We want to be more. We want to move into what's calling us. And we do that through initiation. And the amount of fuel, the amount of power that's available right now is blessed. We want it, right? And where we can have the simplest, most powerful agency, and the most powerful way to harness that is to very clearly choose who and what we will serve and who and what we will not serve. Because what comes out of choosing and knowing who you serve is the reciprocity of that, right? You choose to serve love, you choose to serve whatever the divinity of your own understanding is, you are then entering a covenant of reciprocity, meaning you're not alone in that. What you serve is in service to you, always. So it's for you to step forward in service, to be brave and courageous, to acknowledge the unknown and to still say, I am going to, this is what I will be an instrument of, right? And to, in that, know that you have aligned with reciprocity from beyond yourself. Reciprocity of your deeper soul, of the one who's holding you, the one who made you, your destiny. There's reciprocity there. And when I talk about your golden path and the golden path that's going to get you through this, that doesn't mean it's going to be beautiful and easy. It just means that if you can remember that the most important thing is who you serve, and then you allow yourself to turn towards the reciprocity of that, you're going to be stepping into what I would call priestesshood, right? You're going to be stepping into the active movement of yourself as an instrument of the beauty of creation, more than you've ever known before, because that's what initiations bring. Because they're the life cycle. They're part of that cycle. The descent journey has the resurrection inside of it in the deep feminine tradition. So I welcome you. Take shelter here in something that you already know, that already feels natural to you, that already just feels right in you, if that's true for you. That of course, life, death, life, right? We celebrate the intensity of this time, not because it's awesome, not because it's beautiful or fun, or because there won't be tremendous suffering, but because we are going to choose to initiate into the fullness of what we were created to be through this. And we're going to do it together. So who do you serve? And I know you know who that is. But this is the time to purify that relationship, to purify it and to turn toward it, to acknowledge, receive, and basically stake your claim in the reciprocity that is a part of the covenant of serving love, serving the goddess, serving your God, serving whatever it is that you want to call that you serve, that you can feel inside of you. There's a covenant there. And you can stake your claim in it. So who do you serve? That's one of the places to orient to, no matter what's happening. Expect circumstances to be disorienting, whether or not the change seems to be awesome or horrible, right? Wherever you are in the cycle. Expect circumstances to be difficult to orient to, because circumstances are always changing, and the truth on that level is a kaleidoscope. It doesn't ever settle. And at this point, with social media and all the other things, it's really clear. Truth with a capital T must must live underneath of that somehow. Why? Because we need it. There's a sacred need for truth. So it must exist. It's just not where we're often looking. We have got to come in and down and get here and settle into real power, the kind of power that is indwelling. And we do that by asking again and again, whatever the circumstance is in front of you, who do you serve? All right, who do I serve? What will I serve here? What will I be an instrument of? Let that be the question that you ask. Not even necessarily, is this the truth? Is this the truth? Is this the right strategy? What, all of that, fine. Sometimes it'll seem clear and sometimes it won't. But the more important thing is, what do you serve? Who do you serve? Because your motivation in the things that you share, in what you add to this collective situation is what matters, and what is actually going to either lead yourself and lead other people toward home or further from home, right? We want to serve the homecoming that's being invited during this time. Homecoming. Deep homecoming. We want to serve it in ourselves, and we want to be beacons of that for others, so that they are not in this horrible, agonizing place of having left themselves to look for something that will never be there, and having lost the way back into just their own simple presence and all of the resource that's here. So who do you serve, and the reciprocity of that, the covenant there, right? That is something to orient toward no matter what is happening. This, who you serve, is the presence that says, I will be with you. Even when you die, I'll be with you. And if we want to take it all the way to the core place of all of this, we're all facing death. For a moment, for many moments, we're having to acknowledge yet again that this is what's true. We will die, and we will not know when, and we will not know how. And what we need is not all the grasping to understand and to protect ourselves and to fix it and to survive and all of this. That'll come from sober wisdom, all of that. The guardian presence is here for you. But what we need in the face of death more deeply is to know who's with us and who can never leave, right? And to feel that presence and to know that we've served that presence well. Because that's the presence that moves with us through the full cycle of life, into death, into whatever life comes after that. So orienting to who we serve. And the other part of that, in acknowledging that, look, what we're on right now is a heroine's journey, right? When the initiation, when the odds are this, the odds are this huge, right? This kind of daunting. I think for many of us, and on a kind of global level, the odds just keep stacking up, right? It's the environmental catastrophes that we're looking at, or the environmental changes. And then it's the economics, and now it's a pandemic, and then it was all the things in your personal life. I mean, here's the thing. If you pay attention, and if you're feeling and aware, then you are aware that there's a galvanizing happening through all of this, that what a heroine's journey is, what's galvanizing us into the warrior presence that we need, and to the understanding of the heroine's journey that we're on, is that the how do I want to say that? The words aren't coming, but just that all of a sudden it's become almost like an impossible quest, right? We are on a quest. And there are certain ways in which it keeps pushing the volume so that it seems absolutely unwinnable, right? Yvonne says my connection is unstable. Is that true for everybody or just for her? Okay, you're okay. All right, good. Okay, there's a lot of you here. That it's kind of fun just to ask a question and we just watch the chat go, um, and to feel you guys. Um, so back to that, the heroine's journey. So here's the thing: if there's any part of us that thinks we can save this, then we're going to have to relinquish that in order to actually become an instrument here. Because saving this is, first of all, impossible. Second of all, it's not the point, right? It will or will not be saved, whatever that actually means, right? But all that we really have to orient to is that on this quest of life, through these difficulties, these seemingly sometimes insurmountable challenges, we are the hero or the heroine. And what the point is that we know where we want to go. We know what the quest is, right? What is the quest? The quest might be what, I don't know what it is for you. The quest could be that the quest could be that I can't speak to your quests. That's funny. It's a complete emptiness. I can speak to my quest. My quest, I will raise a temple, right? So I know that that's what pulls me on. That's what I'm given. That's my destiny. I feel it, right? It requires me to be a warrior and a heroine to continually step on that golden path and follow it. You all have your own. You know what your quest is, and it may or may not have something that specific. It might just be a feeling. It's important to acknowledge and honor that quest. That gives us the purpose, that gives us power, and it orients us. But the truth of the matter is, we may or may not ever make it. All we have in this moment is what we become on the way to that. So, here now, what are we becoming in the face of insurmountable obstacles, seemingly, right? How are we being galvanized? That is you accruing power, accruing dark matter, accruing influence and soul force every moment on your heroine or hero's path, right? And so we can't we can't hinge ourselves and our world on the thing that we see, the thing that we love, this beloved vision, this destiny, this like ultimate beauty that we serve. We must serve it. We must walk the path, but we have to stay here and ask over and over again, what am I becoming on my path? What am I allowing or disallowing this life to make me into? Right? And again, that's one of the other simple orientations we have during times of chaos or great change or great transformation, right? Just the honesty with ourselves and the rigor. There's some rigor associated with that. You know, heroine's journey isn't necessarily a soft one. She gets to have she gets to be supple in it, and there's paradise along the way. But there's a sword in there, right? And there's a pillar of fire in there. And you all have that. So when you need to orient to that, you ask, who will I serve? And who am I becoming? Right? So I think that is the message of Sunday service today, as it has come forward, is what can you orient to in the midst of all the things that are moving, all the kaleidoscopic change, both around you and within you, right? Not only is the world changing, moving, shifting, you are changing and moving and shifting. Your sacred need to orient, to anchor in something that you can trust, that's stable for you, That's a foundation. I really encourage you, I invite you so strongly to follow that sacred need. It has its own answer. It will guide you toward that. You need security. True. Is it going to be found in all the circumstances? No, false. So, sacred need, security, feeling intact, knowing where your root is, right? Connecting to the presence that's going to be with you no matter what, that will not leave, that can escort you even beyond death, right? Soul forging is where we are. The heroine's journey is what we are on. Our power, no matter what else is going on, no matter what else is going on, life or death in front of you, whatever it is who do we serve and what are we becoming? What are we allowing ourselves to become or to be made into? There are multiple things, many levels of forces and movements happening, right? Some of them are going to attempt to shape you into something you do not want to become, right? A rigid, afraid, small, possibly paranoid, many other things, right? You can feel it. Moving under all circumstances is always the soul forging wisdom of she, right? And she's shaping you for sure. All these circumstances are shaping you. But what they're shaping you into, if you align with who you serve, is an instrument of beauty, right? And that is what we are aligning with together today. The soul shaping, love force, right? The deeper wisdom, the natural laws that shape us into harmonious, whole, and powerful beings of influence, right? That infuse us with the kind of wisdom we need to face whatever transformation is in front of us. Yeah. So let's do something together. What I want to do is, because part of our service is that we want to make some medicine. We definitely want to take something forward with us. All right. Here's our practice. I'm just going to guide us into something together, and then we're going to share. We're going to do some witnessing together around who we serve and what we are becoming right now in all of this. So go ahead, and if it's safe for you to do so, close your eyes. Soften your body back. Become aware of what's behind you. Physical, not physical. Just become aware. Of what's behind you and what's underneath you. Indwelling power upwells from underneath and upholds you from behind. You rest into it. Just for this moment together. Stop leaning forward. Stop looking outward. Close your eyes. Rest back and down into the power that abides. Notice your breath, let it soften. Let it deepen as it will. Just ride the current of your breath, your life, moving in, filling you, releasing from you, to return again and fill you until you release it. Life, death, life, filling, emptying, in order to fill again. Softening your mind so that it is open to receive rather than looking for answers. Just soften. Sink down into your heart, softening her, warming through your heart. And dropping all the way down into your root, your sacred bowl. Open to your felt sense, just what you can feel. Open your inner listening so you're not looking for anything, you're not trying to understand, you're just opening to receive. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I'm going to drop 2 questions, one at a time, into your field. And I want you just to allow yourself to witness the response. So don't try to answer from your mind. So let these questions drop into the depth of you and open to the greater response from your whole being. With your heart softened, your mind receptive, deeply rooted in your place of power in this moment. Who do you serve? Let the answer to that just evolve, unfold in your being. Feeling in your body, colors, fragrances, maybe words. And the second question: how is the one that you serve shaping you now, through this, through your life now, these circumstances? How is the one you serve shaping you through these circumstances? And letting the answer to that be full in you. It's not a concept. Let your sensual body respond. Let your imaginal psyche respond. Just deeply listen, feel. When you're ready, just take a few breaths there, softening, absorbing whatever was shown, whatever you gathered from that. Preparing to open your eyes and just remembering to stay back down and in. As you open your eyes and come to the call. And here I'd invite you to share in the chat. I'm not going to be able to respond myself, but to really fill this space together with what is your clarity, simple clarity, who you serve, and what that one that you serve is shaping you to become. Because out of this reorientation to those two questions, Carmen says she serves self-love. Christine is being shaped to trust herself. Mm-hmm. Brooke said what came up for her was Aphrodite serving love, beauty, and art and togetherness. Cynthia's feeling she's being shaped into love. Clara says she serves the blossom of life. Taylor's being shaped to partner with herself and not desperately look externally. Yeah. Grandma says she serves great spirit, stripping away anything and anyone that is not holistic for her at this time. Yes. Beautiful. Josephine says she's being shaped to be a trusted mother. Beautiful. I feel like it would be, I don't know that it's even, I love what I'm glimpsing, and I'm glad, keep them coming, because I think this is, as you can read each other's chats, this is you have just self-sourced this, what you're bringing to us. This is self-sourced indwelling knowing, right? And this knowing is what is true. This is holy wisdom. So this is what we have when we need truth, when we need to know. It's a state, and it's indwelling. And that's what you've all just touched, right? This is trustworthy. This is sourced in your soul. It's sourced in ancient knowing, right? It's sourced in something much bigger than you are, even as it expresses just exactly as you are. So nuanced and perfectly fragranced to be just you, right? Yuvia says she doesn't have words for it right now. She's feeling really held by so much. The words divine covenant is as much as she can articulate. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. I hope I could get back in there and read all those later. Yeah. So, oh, thank you, Chastity. Francesca's saying she also feels that with Yuvia, words seem to diminish her feelings and her deep knowing right now. Exactly. So, right, we're in this. This is a whole other service, a whole other time. The movement between articulation and knowing, right? And you know what I hope you were able to taste through that practice, which is why I'm including practice in the Sunday services and not just a message, is that this is you. This is felt. Deep feminine tradition is what you feel, what you are, right? And what you're touching into is what you are. And some of that will be articulate, some of it not, all of it just as valid, right? Whether or not we can speak to it or not. So as we're closing our service together today and our time together, and thank you so much. I feel so, just I feel so fortified, and I feel us fortifying each other as like pillars of something eternal here in the face of, right, so much change, right? And for me, this is about going to the deep root, the deep resource where salvation really lives, where resource lives, right? Where our peace, and not a peace that is not conceptual, lives, right? It's not nothing about our relationship to God, to Goddess, to spirit, to our souls is meant to be conceptual. It's substantial. You feel it, and I know you feel it. Our choices now, as we're going through this time together, this huge initiation all together, our choices are to just turn toward that more, to anchor in that, to bring it to the center, to light the candle in our heart, to make sure that it's burning, to tend it, right? And what that can bring to this is what we most need and what our people most need, right? They don't, sure, sometimes it'll be really helpful and really important that we strategize with them, or that we this or that, but what they need the most is this presence, because this is the only thing that can really hold us through the unknown. And that's really what we're inside of, right? So I feel myself this deep relief in my heart, knowing that you are all out where you are, that you are anchoring your who you serve, that you are turning towards that and opening to the covenant, opening to the reciprocity, right? This is deep feminine tradition. It's very different from many other types of traditions. Our relationship to who we serve is one of love, reciprocity, covenant, promise, of alliance, right? Of living friendship, of shepherding. Right? We are becoming one with who we serve. So, Catherine says, thank you. Now she's going to go serve her 98-year-old mom some chicken soup. Awesome. Beautiful. Exactly. Exactly. Right? Being an instrument, the hands, the voice, the touch, the heart of she, of spirit, right? So let's close in prayer together. And let's close with a prayer together. So if it's safe for you to close your eyes, do so. If not, just soften back and in. Beloved Goddess, Shepherdess, Torchbearer at the crossroads, thank you for calling us together today in your name, in your many ways. I know you have heard the summoning that we created by remembering you. And I know that your response is generous. Help us to receive you. Help us to see you, to proclaim you wherever and however you appear. Help us to stay close to you, you and your shaping, the way that you shape our souls and our hearts and our beings. Inside of all these circumstances, liberate us from the push and the pull of the circumstances. They are not true. You are true, and we are in your hands. Keep us close to you. We rest into your promise that you are with us, that all we need to do is turn toward you, and that even when we forget, even when we are lost, you will enter any darkness to find us. That you are the shepherdess. We are safe in you. We are known. We are holy. We are guided in you. We give thanks for your ever-renewing life and for this companionship of spirit that we share. Blessed be. Blessed be. Blessed be. So thank you for having Sunday service with me and being here, drinking from the deep well, gathering pearls from the deep. Yeah. I'll be sending out the recording of this, and there's one more in this cycle of 4. So next Sunday will be the 4th, and we'll see what happens after that. I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure that next week's service, especially because I think it's Easter Sunday, we're going to be working with resurrection. Yay. Okay. Bless you all, and I feel your strength. I feel the substantial power that you have called forward and that we gathered together. And may it surround and nourish you. May it move out through your days. You know, there are blessings here. May they move through your days and find you even when you're not looking for them, right? We know that we've just planted seeds for you. You have planted seeds for your life. You have sent doves of peace, doves of grace, doves of knowing out, flying on your path. They'll find you. They'll be resting and meeting you on the path ahead. Thank you all so much. Um, Sending you with all my love. And we're here for you at Her Mystery School. If there's any way that you think we can support, and otherwise, I will see you next Sunday. Blessed be.